Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I am bringing you a brand new buyer's guide. Obviously Gran Turismo 7's update 1.19 arrived today, and the first car that hit the scene, obviously straight out the brand new brand central, is the Porsche 918 Spyder. In my opinion, one of the best looking Porsches ever made, and I am genuinely really happy to have this in the game. Definitely a worthy addition, and it's awesome to have yet another pretty extreme hypercar. So if you want to buy this car yourself, it is 1.6 million from the Porsche dealership. So not actually a bad price. I thought it was going to be around about the same price as stuff like the FXXK, etc. But no, it's actually coming in at a pretty reasonable price, really. Obviously, the economy isn't too bad in Gran Turismo currently. So I actually bought two of them, and you're going to see why. So there's a bit of a special surprise later on in this video, so make sure you stay tuned. So on to the lap itself. Obviously, if you've never been here before and this is your first time, what we essentially do is lap the Nordschleife in the car with no upgrades. The only thing I can do really is put a livery on. We don't tune them, so you're essentially getting that out of the box feel. Now, there's a big problem with this car. Now, it isn't necessarily the car itself, it's actually a problem that's been around in Gran Turismo 7 since the beginning. Now, race cars in Gran Turismo 7 are absolutely perfect. So after we got the physics changes in update 1.13, race cars actually handled like they should. A race car, massive amounts of downforce, still they can get a bit wild, however, you feel like you've got a lot more input in how they handle, and if you make a mistake, it feels like it's mostly down to you. Road cars, on the other hand, have this horrible sense of feeling when you've got all the assists turned off. They are completely a nightmare to get a hold of. Basically, they'll kick the back end out constantly. You'll be trying everything to kind of keep these cars on track. Now, it's sort of the issue really that I majorly have with it is I can put traction on, however then I'm absolutely bleeding speed, and obviously you've got the horrible traction control system in this game that will just not really get the most out of the car. So I want to drive with it off, and I will pretty much always keep it off. However, the problem then arises that every car seems to want to go sideways. That's a road car. So you'll have these hypercars which are known for insane amounts of grip and really how they handle, kicking their back end out constantly like it's a classic American muscle car. Now, this car really highlighted that issue for me. If you've ever seen a review of this car, and I believe it was Top Gear way back when, mentioned just how good this car handled as a package. And I actually believe a viewer of mine sort of pointed that out in their comment for sort of just the pure gameplay showcase of this car, where the car was just, far too tail happy, when in reality, everyone that's sort of driven one of these and reviewed it said just how well it handles as a package. So it's just extremely frustrating. So it's like, I can either turn the traction on and completely bleed speed and lose time and have that awful traction control kicking in constantly throughout the corner, or I can drive with no assist and have to try and sort of rein the car in. Yes, it gives you more time to sort of learn the car, but a lot of people will probably just end up getting frustrated, and this car could end up being put back in the box, so sort of never touched again. However, I kind of wanted to change this video up, so I kind of made a little bit of a special thing towards the end to basically resolve these issues and be able to kind of drive around how I want to without traction control on. And yeah, I'm going to kind of leave that to the end, but let's get into the positives of the car. Well, like I said, for me, it's one of the most stunning looking Porsches ever made. I think it's absolutely just a timeless design. This car's coming up nearly, a decade old, and it looks like it could just roll out of the showroom any day now. Obviously, we've got a bunch of really sort of insane looking hypercars and electric supercars and such getting released now that look more and more crazy sort of as the years go by, to the point where they look like things we were sort of drawing up as a kid. They're that crazy looking. But now it's like this car kind of came along when it did, looked really futuristic, and it still to this day looks really, really good. It doesn't look out of place, it doesn't look remotely like dated. Kind of things like the LaFerrari, for me, in my opinion, while yes, it's an amazing looking car, it's kind of sort of getting to that part where it's starting to look outdated. It's the same with, I believe it's the P1, again starting to look a little bit outdated nowadays, or kind of, you know, starting to show its age, should I say. It doesn't look outdated, it's still, you know, they're both beautiful cars, but they're starting to sort of show that they're getting a bit older now. You know, they're coming towards that decade. I mean, we have had a pretty insane decade full of hypercars that, like I said, are just looking more and more crazy. Now, this Porsche for some reason just has that classic Porsche look, and I feel like because Porsche have kind of stayed with, you know, their design, you know, you can always tell what, you know, if a car's a Porsche just by the way, you know, of looking at it. And I feel like the same, you know, to be said about this car. So definitely a very, very good looking car, and the modeling game is honestly second to none. It's definitely the best sort of looking version or in-game model of this car that I've ever seen. Sound design absolutely brilliant, even, you know, in standard form without any upgrades. It just makes the absolute best noises ever, and I really do honestly enjoy the sound. So have a listen to this. So for me, they definitely absolutely nailed the sound design with this one, and I'm going to admit it now, I wasn't really too excited when I saw this car sort of being announced or kind of rumoured, and it was only officially announced, I believe, yesterday. But as soon as we got them silhouettes, people were absolutely calling it, you know, that's the 918. And I was just kind of like, oh, well, it's another hypercar. It's going to have that typical road car handling, which I'm going to admit I'm just not a fan of, as you can kind of guess. So I really just wasn't that excited. However, I've got my hands on it, and straight away I just absolutely, you know, fell in love with this car. I think there's just something about it, and for me it's definitely in probably even the top 5 best looking cars in this game currently. It's absolutely, you know, an awesome addition. I'm glad to see it. The price isn't too extreme. I kind of thought, right, they're bringing a hypercar in, they're going to probably absolutely bump the price through the roof to the point where it's just ridiculous and people are going to kind of look over it. But I mean, at 1.6 million, that is just really not that bad these days. I mean, in Gran Turismo 7, yes, it's a bit grindy. However, for those of us that grind when new stuff comes out and it's, you know, a decent price, we'll still be able to buy everything and, you know, have a lot of money left over. So, you know, do I like this car? Yeah, I genuinely think it's a worthy addition. However, the main problem is with the game itself. It's nothing to really do with the car. If this car was in another game, it would probably feel the way it kind of should. I just think there is an inherent problem with road cars, and it's nothing really, you know, with the way they handle. It's nothing to kind of blame on the car itself. I genuinely think it's a great car, and if they do get on top of kind of making cars feel like they should, but some of them genuinely do, but you know, if this is a car that gets praised for the way it handles, then it should handle like that and not be the kind of car that wants to kind of kick its back end out all the time. So let's see where this actually ended up on our lap time leaderboard after a little bit of onboard footage, of course. So onboard, personally, I absolutely love the detail inside of this, inside the cabin. I think it looks absolutely amazing. I think they've got it spot on, the way the lighting sort of goes over you when you're looking at it in replay mode, or even when you're driving it. You know, I prefer, I guess, in replay mode, mostly because you can take more detail in watching back, and just see, you know, how much of a good job they did. And it is just honestly a really nice kind of place to be, especially for those of you that want to use the onboard view. You're not going to be disappointed. Some onboard cars just look a bit dull, however this one pretty much perfect. So like I said, let's actually look where this came in on our lap time leaderboard. Just a heads up, I did actually forget to get the individual sector times, so I'm sorry about that, but you know, we're going to find out where it actually came overall. And it didn't make the top 20, so in the 700 category it came 14th out of 18, so it came below the FXXK by around about nearly 21 seconds, but it has beaten a Lamborghini Veneno, Bugatti Veyron, and then obviously you got the Roadster Shop Rampage and the Muse S2000, so not too bad. But again, I think a lot of that is down to the handling of the car, or else I feel like it would have been much quicker. So I decided to solve the problem myself. Welcome to this. This is my custom made, all carbon fibre looking Porsche 918 Spyder to the extreme essentially. Wide bodied, big wide wheels, you know, racing rims, should I say, whatever you want to call them, and obviously it's got the full kit. I wanted as much downforce on this car as possible, and as well to kind of give it that GT car for the road look. I mean, it almost looks like it's a special one-off model, and I kind of love the look of it. It's really kind of grown on me, so I took it around high speed ring to kind of see, you know, is it going to handle, or is it, is it going to keep kicking its back end out? And pleasantly, I'd managed to solve everything. So although it's still kind of a little bit tail happy, it's to the point where it's very controllable and it won't like sort of bleed too much time off of you. It's insanely fast. It grips like no tomorrow. The brakes are better, but most importantly, like I said, that handling model is kind of gone, and it kind of handles more like, a GT3 car would, or Group 2 car. It's definitely got the downforce there. It's just sad that we've kind of had to get rid of that terrible road car handling, go to the extreme, but I wanted to kind of just make the most extreme Porsche 918 I could. So there you go. This is, I guess I want to call it my own custom one-off carbon fibre job. Obviously it's not. The upgrades are in the game. If you want to do them, feel free to do them. People might sort of say that wing's really ugly. Yeah, it is, but it's functional and it's fixed all the problems I had with this car. However, I can't run it overall on my lap time, around the Nordschleife, because that'd be breaking the rules. So overall, should you buy this car? I'd say 100% yeah. There's no reason why you shouldn't. It's relatively, well priced. Yes, it's over $1 million, but who cares? It's an absolutely stunning car. And yeah, you might like the handling. Personally, I'm not a fan of its standard handling. However, if you put upgrades on, trust me, it's a whole of a beast, and it looks pretty cool too. So yeah, it's absolutely awesome, a worthy addition to Gran Turismo 7, and like I said, definitely my top 5 best looking cars in the game. So yeah, really enjoying this one, and it did catch me by surprise. So yeah, I was wrong. I can admit it. Yeah, pretty awesome car. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.